Hey,
Okay.
everybody. Hi, light workers and yoga teachers and wellness entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for joining us for our 6 Instagram tips for wellness entrepreneurs. We are so glad you're either here with us live or watching the replay later. So, welcome, welcome. And
Hello, welcome.
we know you are here because you are just either navigating this crazy world of Instagram. Maybe you've got a few things in your side pocket you want to learn a little bit more, or maybe you're just beginning to navigate this world. I tend to help a lot of clients, as Manu does too, just to start the process. But maybe you're here because you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Maybe you're realizing that social media just takes so much time and you want to figure out how to reduce that time. If you're like me, when I first started off, maybe you can't quite figure out what to say or how to say it. So we are excited to have you here. We're going to address all of these pain points and help them feel a little lighter, right, Manu?
Right, right. And there is something that you say, Renee, that, it's true. It's like right now we live there is like a kind of a new world, since the last year. And I know that before we thought that the online thing, yes, is something that, it's important. We knew that in order to thrive as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a independent teacher or wellness professional, you needed to have some kind of online knowledge. But right now it's very evident, it's very obvious. Like really since the last year, things has changed a lot. And what we are also here to help you with, it's to start taking the first few steps to develop that new, like an online presence. Because right now it's something that is really important. And we know, Renee and I, we both love this world of, the tech and the Instagram. And we try to bring this to you in a way that it's going to feel useful, to the point, but also creative and fun. We hope.
Yes, we do, because everybody's experience is different, but we are excited to share the our experiences and what we love to do that saves us a lot of time and helps us connect with people, right? Because that's what we're here for, is just to connect and eventually collaborate and make some money, right?
Correct.
So, Manu, why don't you introduce us? Tell us, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Manu, and right now I'm in Spain. I am in the place that I was born, which is the south of Spain. But I would say over the last 20, 25 years, more or less, I've been traveling around the world. I lived in Ireland, Italy, and the last few years I was living in Thailand. And since the last more or less 13 years, I've been working in the yoga industry. So I did different things. When I started, I was working as a chef, but then I started to teach slowly. And over the last few years, I was basically teaching yoga full time, working for big yoga corporations. I could say, or maybe big yoga retreats and wellness centers in Southeast Asia. And since the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, I became an entrepreneur, an independent yoga teacher, and movement professional. And I before I started, I remember having a lot of knowledge about yoga and movement and everything, and I thought that I could help a lot of people with that. But as soon as I stepped into my role as an entrepreneur, I realized that there were so many things that I needed to learn about. And one of them, of course, was the way I was marketing myself and the way I was using my social media channels, in particularly Instagram, just to make more impact and eventually, as Renee said, to make more money. Because when you are an entrepreneur, I know in the yoga world, wellness world, sometimes we have like some kind of feelings about money. Sometimes we kind of have these, not maybe in the wellness or the yoga world, maybe especially, but I think many human beings, we do have issues with money, right? But at the end of the day, when we are when we are entrepreneurs, it's really important that we see that the money, it's what it's going to allow us to keep doing this service for people.
Mm-hmm.
So after when I realized that all of these things that I needed to learn and all of that, started to learn, to train with coaches, with business coaches, started to learn from them, and eventually it became my passion. And this is what I do right now. Right now, I help other yoga teachers and wellness professionals to step into that role of leadership so that they can become more confident and successful as entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Well, we're thankful to have you and to shine your light and lift other yoga teachers up and other wellness entrepreneurs. So keep doing what you're doing. And thank you for sharing your beautiful story. This is the second time I've heard it. And I can't wait for people to ask you questions about your chef journey because it's amazing. Um, and well, okay, I'll introduce myself.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know me, hi, my name is Renee. My last name is Claire, and I'm a productivity consultant for wellness entrepreneurs. But I'm also a meditation and yoga teacher. I've been teaching yoga since 2015. I actually started with meditation and then found my way through gentle yoga and got really into alignment, but somehow I find myself right back to where I started. It's all about just really enjoying your body in the present moment and functionality, right? Because we're all sitting all day. My path is an interesting one. I have this really interesting balance between the left brain and the right brain. I'm always thinking and analyzing things. I've been in the corporate world for eons, and I decided to slowly transition into entrepreneurship back in 2017. And then I started teaching online yoga before the pandemic, you guys, in 2017. And then I pivoted during COVID, during the pandemic, to being a productivity coach. And now I feel just incredibly aligned. I geek out on processes and systems and spreadsheets and numbers, you name it. But I love, love, love helping wellness entrepreneurs lighten their workload so they can have more time and energy to enlighten others. So anything I can do to help a yoga teacher, a wellness entrepreneur, that's where it's at. It makes my heart happy. I usually start off with the cornerstone of time management, which some of the tips that I have for you today will touch on that. But you can always check out, we can always go offline and deep dive, do a deep dive into time management. That's really hard to say.
That's amazing, though.
Thank you.
Mm.
All right, I'm excited to dive in, and I know those of you who are online live with us, you just want to get right to it. It might be your lunch break, and what do you say? Do you want to take it away and share your 3 tips, Manu?
Right. Yeah, of course. Well, let's dive in, right? So this is the first one that I have today. It's the first one is what this is a question that I get sometimes from my people is what is the best content for my audience? What is the best thing that I can share for my audience? And when people ask me that, the first question that I ask them back is how focused is your audience? And when I talk about how focused is your audience, what I mean by that is how much are you serving in a specific niche in the market? And this is something we have heard before. We have heard about, probably you have heard you need to focus in one niche and serve the needs of those clients. And honestly, Renee, before I started to focus on one single niche, in this case is yoga teachers, I remember that I was doing different things. And of course, all of that was reflected on my social media. Renee, I don't know if you're there or if I lost you. I think we lost you, but anyway, I'm gonna keep talking with my 3 tips and then I'm sure you're gonna find your way back. So that
I'm
was
here.
one of the
I'm
things.
here.
Oh, you're there because I couldn't see
I
you.
put you on
Sorry.
spotlight, so everybody sees you right now.
Okay. Thank you. So that was the thing, because I was doing different things. I was serving different people. I had private clients. I was doing retreats. I was doing different stuff. It was very difficult for me to get really, really, really clear and really focused on my message on Instagram. Okay, so that is super, super important. Why is this important? Because when you are asking what is the best content you want to you can share for your audience, you want to think about a pain point that your audience has. And sometimes it's funny to say, but this is how we human are. Sometimes we are so so focused on our life and on our problems that oftentimes the people that we focus on social media is because they are helping us solve some kind of problem, and it's amazing. And we, but you know, it's kind of funny sometimes that we look for people that are going to serve us somehow. So if you have a focus and you have a clear message, and you know who are the people you are serving, and you know what are the kind of problem those people have, it's going to be super easy for you to share that content that will resonate with that people in particular. And of course, there's going to be other people that are going to step away because they won't resonate with the message that you are sharing. But the people that will be on your niche and will have that specific problem, the moment they see the content that you're sharing, they will feel that you are talking to them. So that's super, super important. Provide a solution for that pain people in your niche are suffering, and that is going to be the best content to share for your audience. I don't know if that is clear, Renee. That was my first tip. If you want to continue with one of your tips, or you want me to keep going, just let me know.
Well, let me repeat back. So one of the first things both you and I always hear from our clients is, what do they talk about? What do they say? Right.
Mhm.
And so the first thing, it's not so much starting with what to say, it's starting with, okay, getting really clear on who your audience is, right? And
Right.
then from there, it's figuring out your ideal client, so your ideal audience member, what are they dealing with? What are their pain points, right?
Mhm.
And then it's making sure that your solution to that, how they're going to work with you, how you're going to solve that is super clear. And then you communicate all of that. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I got an A.
Good. Perfect. Very good listener.
And you know what? I think it would make sense to keep going with your tips, because I feel like you and I are like the dream team when it comes together, because you have like the creative marketing part and I have this, like, like these processes down tap.
Mhm.
So I think that it makes sense to figure out, okay, who and how you're going to say it, and then I'll outline the tips for what you're going to do. Does that sound good?
That sounds perfect. I'll
Okay,
keep
awesome.
going then. All right. So once we have this, once we are like really clear with who are those people, once we have clear what are the pain they are suffering and how we can help them um, with that pain, then the next question sometimes I get from my students is how to market my offering. How do I market my offerings? And here's a mistake that I see over and over again amongst so many yoga teachers is that I see some teachers that are maybe is the first, like they rarely post on Instagram, but then they have few classes and they're gonna post the classes, and they post the schedule and the schedule in their social media, and they are surprised because no one show up for the classes. And this I see it again and again and again. And here's what I want to say. There is a way of marketing your services. And the first step for marketing your services on social media is to offer value for free. Okay, I know sometimes we get the word free. We feel like, oh my gosh, am I giving my work for free? Sometimes we are told you shouldn't be working for free and all of that. I want you to forget about that, because it doesn't mean that we are doing things for free. What we are doing is actually creating value. And it's a marketing strategy. This is a marketing strategy. This is a way someone who doesn't know you at all will end up buying your services. This is a process that takes a little bit of longer time. This process is called know, like, and trust. And I'm sure you're familiar with that, Renee, with that process, the know, like, and trust. And this is something you need to go through. Because at the end of the day, here's the thing. Anything you want to learn, it's going to be there in the internet. If you are looking for something, I'm sure you go to a YouTube video and you will find that someone have done a video on that and you can watch it completely for free. So how are you going to give a reason? How are you going to give a person a reason to work with you? Is through your content. The focus content we talk about in the first point. Now this content, we're going to provide it for free. We're going to provide it for free so people have the opportunity to see what we are doing. Of course, if you are a yoga teacher, it doesn't mean that you need to do full classes, full length classes. If you have a YouTube channel, what I would recommend is to do shorter versions of your class. Maybe you could do like a 10, 15 minutes class where people can have a taste of your teaching style. Maybe you can give some tips, or maybe you can do something that is useful for your audience. Does that make sense, Renee?
It does. It does. What is your thing that you have of value that you provide?
For me,
Uh-huh.
in Instagram, I love giving tips, I love talking about especially for yoga teachers who are taking the first steps as independent working yoga teachers. I tend to give a lot of tips. What are the first things that I need to do? I really, really love to think about the mindset shifts. And the one that I just share is one of them. Sometimes we think about, oh my God, I cannot do anything for free because otherwise it's like I'm giving my job away. But actually a mindset shift for that, it's to think about that as your marketing strategy.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you for that example.
Yeah. So that will give people, that will give your people the opportunity to see the way you work. And also another important thing, Renee, here is to also post your paid offerings, paying offerings. Okay. It doesn't mean that you only do give. Okay. There is another, just make sure that there is some time for you to ask in return. So you can do that through your posts. You can do that through your Instagram stories. There are so many ways in which you can also ask people, maybe as a final call to action after a post. You can tell people, hey, if you like my content, if you want to take another step with me, if you want to go one step further and want to work together with me, you can check the link in my bio, or you can send me a DM, or you can send them whatever you think they need to go to see how is a way you can work together in a deeper way. Does that make sense?
It does. I love that. It's something I do too.
So I think there is a nice balance there, Renee, because of course it's many business coaches would tell you that you would need to give, and then take. So it's more giving than taking, but it's also really important that you put out your paid offerings, because that is also put you in the position of the expert. If you are the person who is only giving for free, people won't come to you if they need deeper help. So it's really important also that once in a while, we also mention our paid offerings for people to find us.
I agree with you. I was so shy as a new yoga teacher to put out my offerings, especially when I started teaching online yoga, because I was a salmon swimming upstream and nobody was teaching online yoga then. And so it was like painful to talk about my offerings and share my class. But now, it's really beautiful to find that balance of offering the value, like you said, and then saying, hey, like, here's this beautiful thing too. And this is like, I call it an energetic exchange, whether it's money or somebody's email, that kind of thing, So I love that. Thank you for sharing that tip.
You're welcome. Well, let's go to the third one. And this one, maybe it's a little bit more like kind of techie strategic, like it's about the next one. We're going to talk about the Instagram, the business account, the highlights of the business account in Instagram. And this is another mistake that I see in so many independent yoga teachers, is that they don't have a business account. And this is like really, really key for me. I understood so much more about my audience when I switch my account from personal account into business account. Of course, you also want to have it public, because if you want to have a personal account which is for yourself or your family, or just put in personal stuff, that's okay, you can have that private. But if you have a business account where you want to share your classes and the products and services that you are going to sell, then it needs to be a public profile, and you also want to make it a business account. So the highlights with this business account is that whenever you post something, you will see what is the amount of people and that like your posts. Of course, you can see that with any kind of account, but you have also other statistics that you can see in a very easy way. And as I say, that will really, really help you to understand who are the people on your audience who are engaging with you, what kind of hashtag attract what kind of people, all of those things that just exploring a little bit every time you make a post, you can find out. And this is totally for free in the business account, and I really, really recommend to use that. There's another feature, Renee, that I really use, and I'm sure you have seen that in my stories, which is asking questions.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. It's so much fun. Yes.
Yeah. I also really love that. I really love asking questions, because this not only give the people in your audience an opportunity to engage, and in a way you are telling them that they matter to you and that you really care for whatever they have to say or whatever they have to think. And it's a really fun way to engage. And again, it's going to give you a lot of information. Some of the questions that I do sometimes, what are the struggles when it comes to, for instance, the last question that I asked, when it comes to navigating this new reality, what are the biggest struggles, the biggest questions that you have? And that is going to give you a lot of information. That information has to do with the first point. We go back to the specific problem that our audience have. They're going to tell you what problem they have. And based on that, it's going to be easier for us to create a product or a service that our audience would be like, oh my gosh, I need that.
Yeah. I love that. Yes. Thank you for bringing us full circle. So we've got 3 tips. Get clear on your content by getting to know your audience. And how to market your offering is about sharing and value, and usually that comes in the form of free or some sort of like way of thinking about it for free, but just showing up and having value. And then the last one, which I love, is creating an Instagram business account, but more so finding that way to engage with your ideal audience member. Is that right?
Correct. And I love, Renee, that you use the word value when in the second tip, when we talk about the free offering, free value. Value is a key word. We want to offer value. We want to offer things that people feel like, wow, this is a way, I think a business, a small business, a big business, the way they work, it's by creating value. And I have a bonus. I have another extra tip.
Do tell.
Yes. So this one is what is the thing people love seeing the most?
What do they love seeing the most?
Well, there are different things, of course, but what I found, according to my experience, and also to my students' experience, what people really, really, really love to see is our face.
Yes.
People like to see us, be it on video, be it on photo. People are following us because they resonate with our energy. And even that, like I do this experiment, because even though I love Instagram, but I still experimenting. It's like every day I learn something new. And I realize that whenever I post a photo, if there is the image of my face or there is me in the photo, I'm gonna get much more engagement and much more if it's a video.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a video, Rene, this is what people really, really love on social media. What they really love to see is you on a video. In my experience, this is what makes people engage more with your posts. Because at the end of the day, when we are posting something, it's not about the likes. It's not about how many people like as much as is the engagement. Because a like is easy. A like is just like double tap, that's it. You don't. But when you read something, when you post something, there is someone who read that and they really feel like, when you really feel that that person really touched on whatever you're feeling, you're gonna leave a comment, right?
Yep. Yes,
and and
exactly.
this is what Instagram values, and this is what the algorithm values. And finally, the last things, talking about what people love seeing. At this point, I don't know if it's like people really love seeing, but probably it's because Instagram is kind of pushing that, is the reels and the stories. I think those are the kind of two parts of Instagram right now that people love to spend time on.
Mm-hmm. Reels are so fun. I haven't done one in a little bit, but I had a great time, and it's a really great like creative outlet, just to
Yeah.
kind of see what you can do. And I think I found a video that trained me in about 10 minutes, and I was up and running. And you don't have to get too technical with it at all. It could be like just one straight video. Maybe you add a song. No big deal. It doesn't have to be technical, and you don't have to be rolling around in roller skates. Those are my favorite ones to watch.
Yeah, I love them. Well, this is all I have today, Renee.
I think it's a lot. Thank you. Thank you for the
Wow,
bonus too.
thank you. Uh, Great. I'm glad to hear that you felt it was a lot.
Yes, there are a lot of yoga teachers that I've worked with that these are the questions I get asked all the time too. So I'm really grateful that you've summed it up for us. Are you ready to dive into the the technical stuff?
Absolutely. I'm dying. I love to. I want to know. I want to know what are your tips.
So I start trying to laugh a little and lighten things up because the topics that I have are the ones that most of the creative people in my life, like such as you, such as the people watching live, really particularly like to do. It takes a little bit of time at first, but once you get these down, it just speeds up like your everyday social marketing activities, right? So the first tip that I have was actually inspired by someone who is live on this call, and we've done work together. And so the first tip that I have is creating a social marketing SOP. And that's Sierra, oh gosh, Oscar Papa. That's military alphabet. SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedure, which sounds like so military, so corporate, because it is. But I think as entrepreneurs, we forget these like really cool tools and things that we've learned from these other places. And then we come into our own and we're like, we just get overwhelmed and we're not sure what we're doing and how. But this is the first step, right? So my suggestion is creating some sort of Word doc or GDoc if you're in Google, opening it up and just titling it your social marketing SOP. And then write down or type out, you can do this on paper too, write down all of the things or type out all of the things that you do each week or each month or however much you have this process down. And even if you haven't done social media before, type the things that you're hearing people say to do, right? Like post 3 times a week or do 2 stories or something like that. Get down every tool that you use. You'll hear us coaches and yoga teachers talk about Canva, talk about, different websites, and I'll go into some of that later, but you want to just get everything on this one doc. The really key thing here is it's our greatest hope that your business grows. And when it grows, you're not going to have time to do everything, especially marketing. So what I would love to see for everybody to do is to hire some help. And then over time, you've got this beautiful SOP. You can hand it off to them and they know everything and they have it all right there. You can also use this as a scratch pad. I do it too. I use a scheduler. So I'll kind of type up my thoughts in the scratch pad and then I'll move it from there and put it into this other thing that I'm going to tell you about. So this is where it's at. This is like when you post, how you post it, all of the things that Manu said can go in here too, all of your strategy. How does that sound, Manu? Does that sound okay?
It sounds amazing because as you say, you say all creative people, because I consider myself a creative person. And yes, like at first I feel a little bit of, I wouldn't say rejection, but when you talk about SOP and everything, but I know because I'm using some of things to get more organized, I know how much time it will help you to save time. These things are amazing. And I love the idea. I love the idea of taking all of these things and organizing them in a Google Doc.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's brilliant. Yeah.
And you have a checklist for yourself. So every week, if you sit down to do your social media marketing, you know exactly what to do. You don't have to figure out where things are, where your links are. You have one go-to. It saved me so much time when I discovered that I needed to do this, you guys.
You're focused. You are super focused, right?
Exactly. Okay. So creating their social media marketing standard operating procedure, or SOP or SOP. That's tip number 1. Are you ready for tip number 2?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Go for it.
So my tip number 2 is to create a social media calendar. Okay.
Social media calendar.
Yes. So you have your SOPs, you've got everything that you do, how you do it, all the links. Maybe it's your scratch pad. You can get creative with it. The second thing is to create a social media calendar. The way that I do this is through, you can use some type of sheet, right? Whether it's an Excel sheet, whether it's a Google sheet, or I really like the platform called Airtable. Airtable has more functionality.
Airtable.
Airtable. It's really cool, and you can do a trial and it has more bells and whistles, but I use the free one because I encourage everybody to start off just using everything for free, all the free things that you can do. So in this document, in this sheet of sorts, you'll want to have 4 tabs, okay? The first tab is your schedule. On that, you'll have the following kind of columns. The first one is your bucket, and we'll get into that in a moment. So your bucket, like what is this post about? How does it tie in to one of the 5 things that you like to share about? The date that you post it, a photo, like you can either link a photo or just maybe put a word description in there. Your hashtags, which I'm going to get to in a moment. So hashtags. Yeah, yes, hashtags, guys. Social media marketing, guys and gals and everybody. The next column is your copy. I like Airtable because it'll pop out for me and I get to, I'm really kind of a verbose person, as you can tell. I like to write a lot. So, but you can do the same thing in your Google sheet or your Excel sheet. So the second one, that's called copy, is any time that you're writing something out. The next column is your status. And here are the statuses: pending, scheduled, posted, needs editing, planned, or sometimes you might want to delete something you posted before or archive it. So archive. There's, I've switched up my Instagram things so many times. I have these things that are archived, so they're secret. So I still have them if I want to go to them. And then the last column is event. just like Manu was saying, you want to provide value, but you always want to bring it into something that you're promoting, whether it's your online class, a special event, something like, Manu and I are doing for an IG webinar. So you just want to tie in everything. So when you have this all together, you can see at a glance, when you're posting, what it is, have it all there, and then you can plan it out. You can maybe do a couple of posts and write them out in one fell swoop. What do you think about that, Tab?
I think that's amazing because that is so neat and organized. So I can do that in an Excel spreadsheet, right?
Yes.
And I could do like month by month. Like this also will help you save a lot of time because you can sit one morning and then just like kind of fill it up, right?
Yep. And I've gone in and I've reused content that I've written out. I just kind of copy and paste it somewhere else, or I'll grab a couple hashtags from another post. It's really interesting. You can take it up a step further and analyze how many people, how many comments, how many likes, all of that. But I think this is just a good spot. Just stay here until you want to get real technical with it. The
Right.
next, go ahead.
I love that. Just let me one little thing to because I want to say that I really really love the hashtag thing because the hashtag, I never know how to, like, I have another place and copy paste, but I think it's really really nice for having them organized in this kind of a spreadsheet. It's really really amazing. So we have the SOP. We
SOP.
have the social media scheduler, or how do you call social media schedule?
Calendar, but people like
Calendar.
schedule, whatever feels right. I never say anything that I say is like set in stone. I don't know everything.
Okay.
So that's, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, and what's the third one?
Okay, so we're just like you got excited about. The third one, this one is a process. So this is why I wanted to talk about it, because it's a hefty one, but I thought, why not challenge everybody who's watching the replay or here with us live, is to do a little bit of hashtag research. And I've done a deep dive 2 different ways. I'm going to share with you the easiest way that I know how. So you can either on your SOP, you can create maybe a table here for your hashtag research, or in your social media calendar scheduler, you can create another tab and you'll do these buckets. Okay. So one thing that I've learned is to think of like 5 areas, 5 buckets, 5 topics that you want to talk about on your social media. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 4, maybe it's 5, but kind of no more than 5 because it gets a little overwhelming for people. So you'll create 5, columns. Just we'll stick with the number 5 columns, and then you'll just label your bucket. So for me, I love talking about yoga. I love talking about meditation. I love talking about shifting your mindset and mental health. And I love talking about productivity and time management, as you guys know, right? So I have these 5 buckets. And what I've done, and here's what I want to challenge everybody on the call today to do, is to find at least 3 people who do similar work to what you do, right? Manu's a coach. So I would go, and he has similar clients to me. So I would go over to him and I'd scope him out. I'd say, what hashtags is he using? Let other people do the work for you.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
I love cheating, you guys. I didn't cheat in school. I promise I was a straight A student. I didn't cheat. But start kind of looking and then divvying up these hashtags and putting them into your various buckets. So for instance, if you're like me and you're like, oh, I'm going to talk about a yoga pose, you have all these beautiful hashtags. And I challenge everybody to have about 50 to 100 hashtags. I know that feels like a lot. It takes a little bit of time, but the rule of thumb for Instagram, the hot ticket number, especially when you're starting your business account, is literally posting 30 hashtags for every post. Have you seen that?
30. No, I didn't know that. Wow, that's interesting and super important
30.
to know.
Yes.
30.
30 until you get to around, they say the magic number is 1,000 followers. I'm almost there. So I'm still doing my 30. And then after that, your Instagram will go even further. So those, oh my gosh, was that overwhelming? Was that too much?
No. It's amazing. It's amazing. The thing that I for me, I'm sure, everything that you're sharing it's amazing. For me, the thing that I am just like blowing my mind is the hashtag. You know, organizing hashtags, finding hashtags, which is actually something that I also done before, going to check other people what are the hashtags they're using. But then
Yeah.
also the fact I didn't know the fact of the number that actually at the beginning when you are taking the first steps,
Uh-huh.
using 30 hashtags, it's a good number.
If you want one that will bring you even more traction, everybody message me. There's one that will take more time. It's a numbers game, but I've done it. I played with it. And I was like, whoa. It brings up how many people can see your post. But I won't go there. I want to keep. I like to encourage all my clients and you guys to just take baby steps, little baby steps, right?
Good. Yeah. Mm.
So that's number three. And then I have a bonus as well because we think a lot.
Woohoo! Bonus.
Okay. This one I always preach about, but I always get a little bit of pushback. But it's okay. As long as you've got like these first three, like I'm gonna be a happy wellness entrepreneur consultant, right? The last bonus is to automate. Take all of this, take you everything you've written, your hashtags, you'll start to feel really comfortable, and then sign up for a software, an app, and then put everything in there and automatically schedule it. I personally love scheduling about 3 posts at a time. You can, I've done it where I've scheduled and walked away with like 4 weeks when I've gone on vacation. It was the best thing I ever did. I forget what I post. So it's really fun when people start responding back to you and you kind of get excited about what you put out into the world. There are 4 that I recommend. My favorite one, and I don't get paid for saying this, although I should. My favorite automatic software or scheduler is Tailwind. Tailwind's my favorite. It has the best features. It will help you choose hashtags related to your post as you type. It'll help you with stories. It connects to Pinterest. It's just fabulous. There's even like a link that you can use to put in your bio. However, all of those bells and whistles, they do come with a little fee every month. So although that is my favorite, when I'm trying to slim down my budget, I use Hootsuite. So Hootsuite's my next one. They have a free account. Scroll all the way down to the page. Don't let them fool you. They will hide it. But there is a free one, and you can schedule up to, I think maybe it was 30 posts at one time, but I think you can do maybe 15 or something like that. But I highly recommend just for that automatic, thing where you can just walk away. Set it and forget it. That's what I call it. The other two, that one I've heard a lot about, I haven't used, but it's called Loomly. And I've heard a lot of people really enjoy that. I think I looked it up this morning and I think they have a free trial, but it is a paid software app. And then the other one you can pay for it and you can also use it for free. It's called Later. I like Later because I'm really obsessed with how layouts look and colors, and you can look and see how all of your photos lay out if you want to create a pattern or make sure it lines with your brand colors. It's really beautiful. So
Mhm.
those are the 4 software apps where I say automate, and automation saves you a lot of time. Just try 3 posts at a time, schedule it, forget it, go about your week. It's beautiful. Do you automate, Manu?
You know, I did it once, and actually many years ago, I didn't do it for myself, but I was working for someone else, and we used Hootsuite. And you know, Renee, I realize that you are helping us to save a lot of time because yes, it's true. When you sit down and you know the content you are going to create and you put it there and then forget about that, it doesn't distract you with the other stuff. So that it's amazing way to save us time so that we can use that time doing other stuff, enjoying life, spending more time doing the things that we love,
Yoga. Yeah.
teaching yoga or doing yoga.
Yes, doing yoga for yourself. Get yourself some me time back, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, when I first start working with clients before they have anything in place, if they're doing about 10 hours of social media, I've gotten it down to 1 to 3 hours. One is when I'm like really in tune, and 3 hours is like when I need a little a little like extra oomph. But yes, those are my 3 tips. And so
Amazing, amazing.
thank you.
I love it.
Well, we have just a few minutes here, and I would, if people are thinking about working with you, Manu, because you've shared like some really wonderful things that I wish I had known about when I first started. If people would love to work with you, how do they find you? How do they reach out?
So the easiest way to find me, it's under my website. It has a Spanish name, which is I think it's written in my name here on Zoom. It's called Emprendedores del Yoga, which in Spanish means yoga entrepreneurs. That's the website. You can also find me on Instagram with the same name at Emprendedores del Yoga. Website emprendedoresdelyoga.com. Yeah, with that name you can find me anywhere. I know it's a sometimes it might sound difficult for if you don't speak Spanish, and emprendedores is not an easy word, but you can find in the here, probably you can see in the recording under my name.
Yes, it's there. Emprendedores. Yes.
And yes, Emprendedores del Yoga. So
Del
under that
yoga.
name you can find me everywhere basically.
And do you have any upcoming offerings? How are you working with people right now?
So right now I am with my English speaking audience. I'm working on one-on-one coaching, and I have two different type of programs. One is a 90 minutes call in which we have basically I get to study where you are right now, and we get to see where you want to be in about 6 months. And so I'm going to have you to draw a map that you're going to take, what are going to be the next steps that you're going to take to reach that place where you want to be. And you can do it with this 90 minutes call, or I have a bit longer program that lasts for 2 weeks. And they can find that in my website under services. They can find that on my Instagram. It's on the link in my bio. They can find the work with me, private coaching. That's what I'm doing right now in Spanish. In English, some things are coming, but right now I'm also working with the Spanish audience, which I'm working on a higher ticket program. And so if there is someone who speaks Spanish here, they can also check Emprendedores del Yoga on Facebook. I have a Facebook group, I have a podcast, and they can learn all about it.
Thank you for serving our Duolingo folks. I love that. That's really impressive. I lost a little bit of my Spanish along the way, but that was something I always aspired to do. So I admire you for balancing that and sharing your knowledge with a lot more people. Um, and yes, please go and visit him. And I love that you have a 6 month plan, because that's something I learned with social media and any type of marketing. It's a journey. You don't just kind of get it all in one fell swoop, and you have to be kind to yourself as you learn, and give yourself room to kind of stumble a little bit. It can be challenging. I've had some days, right? Have you had some days?
Absolutely. And you know what, Renee, you and I have talked about this before. At the end of the day, those also are like learnings, is the way we learn. It's normal.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
How about you? If people want to learn more about you, where we can, I know where I can find you, but where can people find you?
Find me on Instagram. I guess that's why we're all here, right? My handle is at the productive WP, which stands for wellnesspreneur, because that's too long to spell out. The productive WP. It's me for right now, so take advantage. Like, message me, talk to me, and then visit my website. It is my name here. So www Renee, and then like in that little space, put a dash claire.com. So renee-claire.com. And on there, well, it's connected to my Instagram. So if you can't remember my Instagram, you can find me there. And then I have a few exciting offerings that I'm really pleased to talk about. I have an executive club that I've started. Every month I have a masterclass where I have people come together and we look and research and kind of examine for each of our own businesses a productivity tip or process. And then we all talk about our quarterly goals and just really share and lift one another up on staying the course and getting there, because I really believe that it's a strength in numbers, that we can achieve our dreams if we work together. And I also I love working with people one-on-one because I can kind of dive in and kind of dissect what's going on in each person's business. So on my website, you can sign up right away for a clarity call with me. Get it? My last name's Claire. So sign up for a clarity call.
Nice.
Tell me what's on your mind. Tell me, like, even if you don't know where to start or whatever, I'd love to offer some light and shed some light on the topic.
I love that. I thank you for giving that support, because as we start saying at the beginning of this call, these times are kind of tricky and they can be very confusing. So having someone whose surname is Claire, someone who you can go and ask for clarity about all of this stuff that for many of us can be tricky and difficult, that is a big service. So thumbs up to you.
Okay. All right. I want to open it up just for a few moments. If anybody live has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or hop in the chat box and ask us a question. But I'm really grateful to be doing this with you, Manu. I feel like it's just this really cool, well-rounded offering that we have, and I can't wait to share the replay with everybody and just continue this work with you and this collaboration. Do you have any other tips or anything else you'd like to share with us as far as marketing and finding your voice goes?
I think if there is one thing that I want to share is that, everything needs a process and everything takes time. And like, I love when you say before how sometimes we can stumble and sometimes we kind of do things that we think they are mistakes, but actually here I think we need to kind of change the mindset. There is no mistakes. We are learning along the way. And sometimes can be very easy, especially Renee, when like you and I, when we work alone and you have a lot of responsibilities coming on you, especially if you are, you are providing some money you're bringing some money in. So it's like you own a business, you have responsibilities, and sometimes we can be a little bit hard on ourselves. So just take it easy, step by step, things will come.
I love that. Thank you. Yes. Ease, right? That's what we're about with yoga.
Right.
Observer and finding ease.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel though, even though we are yogis, I don't know in your case, Renee, but in my case, sometimes I feel like, okay, I need to remind this to myself. I've told many times to people, just relax, take it easy. But sometimes it's not that easy with me.
I have plenty of mentors and coaches, that I go to. I can't do it alone.
Okay, we have Namaste. Thank you very much. Informative hour. Awesome.
Yes, you are welcome. Thank you everybody for being here live with us and watching the replay. It's an honor. And if you have any questions, if you can't sleep at night, email both of us or find us on Instagram and chat. We'd love to hear from you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.